What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to The Order. As we prepare for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, it's good to get a refresher on the story thus far. And while most fans coming into the game may be familiar with what happened in both the first two games in the series, many folks may not have had a chance to pick up the prequel comic released all the way back in May. So I wanted to make a quick video going over what happens in the comic and a few details you need to know heading into Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Written by Christos Gage with art by Ig Guara and color art by Rochelle Rosenberg, the comic takes place after the events of Miles Morales' Spider-Man. One of the first cool details of note is the connection between Peter, Miles, and Mary Jane. The three have formed something of a spider trio, with MJ acting as Oracle to the two Spider-Men. Peter and Miles are still working through their chemistry as a crime-fighting duo, as evidenced by a mix-up between the two while fighting the Tarantula, an off-and-on villain from the Spider-Man comics who's gone by a host of different names and aliases. The burgeoning partnership between Peter and Miles, with MJ alongside providing intel and logistics, figures to be a key story element in Spider-Man 2. With Miles now fully coming into his own as a hero after the events in his own game, this is no longer just Peter's story. It really feels like the beginning of a true Spider family. Much of the plot of the comic revolves around a villain named the Hood, who in the comics is a petty criminal who kills a demon and gains mystical powers from its cloak. You know, typical comic business. Here he's just a regular guy in a red hood, whose team of cohorts rampage through New York committing small burglaries while making use of stolen camouflage tech from the Tinkerer, who you'll recall was a central antagonist of Miles Morales and revealed to be Miles' childhood friend Finn Mason. While Finn died at the end of the game, the Hood and his group managed to get their hands on some of her tech, using it to try to steal enough cash to help the Hood procure a mysterious artifact known as the Lifeline tablet. This tablet has appeared a handful of times in the comics and notably made an appearance in Spider-Man the Animated Series, then known as the Tablet of Time. The Hood tries to use the tablet, which he believes to have mystical healing powers, to save his dying mother, but it's to no avail. The introduction of the tablet is a cool nod to some pretty deep Spider lore, and certainly hints at the possibility of Spider-Man 2 delving into even more corners of the Spider-Man mythos. We get new insight into the state of Peter and Mary Jane's relationship. MJ is back from Sincaria after leaving at the end of the first game to cover the war raging within the country. Peter left New York at the beginning of the Miles Morales game to join her, but returned without her as she's decided to stay in the country to finish her book on the war. That book is the subject of a pretty contentious interview between MJ and Jonah Jameson at the beginning of the comic, with JJ shading Mary Jane's book sales and telling her she should have jazzed up the book with more sensational details. Peter and MJ have a heart-to-heart about it, with Peter asking MJ to move in with him to help with rent on Aunt May's home after her passing, but she pushes back, saying she'd prefer to stay in the city for the sake of her job. The events of the book do end with the two learning to persevere through their recent inner turmoils, and they seem to be heading into the new game in a good place in their relationship. Miles, meanwhile, is struggling with his own dilemma of what path to take with his studies as he prepares to head off to college. At the beginning of the story, he's torn between whether to continue to pursue a career in science or instead dive headfirst into his passion for music. While helping to take down the Hood and his gang, Miles develops a gadget that utilizes his own music to help pulsate and disable the cloaking tech used by the Hood. This inspires him to enroll into Empire State University's music technology program, allowing him to bridge his two loves, science and music. It'll be interesting to see just how much a part of the story Miles' studies will play in the overall narrative, and what's next for the character as he enters this next exciting chapter of his life. And then there's Jonah Jameson, who appeared in the first game as the host of an incendiary anti-Spider-Man podcast called Just the Facts. In the comic, after his interview is interrupted by the Spider duo's clash with the Tarantula, JJ is inspired to repurchase the Daily Bugle and return to his old role of editor-in-chief. When asked why, he says he intends to show the new generation of writers what it means to practice real journalism. Pretty scary thought given his conspiracy theory laced rantings in the first game. How this new development figures into the mix remains to be seen, but it's certainly a fascinating new development to keep an eye on heading into Marvel Spider-Man 2. Let me know in the comments below what you found most intriguing from the prequel comic. If you found this video helpful or insightful at all, be sure to hit it with a like and subscribe to the channel for more Spider-Man 2 coverage and insight. Until next time, have a good one.